Hey, Top Crop, Season 2, middle of June. We're applying some of our AgXplore foliar products. We did it this morning. We have some representatives from AgXplore out here. Just kind of talk about what we're doing, the different products we've used, kind of the stage of the corn, and you know, the benefits of using these certain things. So that's what we're out here doing today. We're gonna look things over. We might dig a few roots here in a little bit and to see how things are progressing. Ben from AgXplore, your last name is Westendorf?
That's right.
Is that the right way to say it?
That's right, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Ben's, I don't know if I want to call him completely local here because he's in Iowa,
That's right.
And we're in Illinois, so not exactly local, but Midwest,
Midwest
agronomist
local.
for AgXplore. Suzanne's behind Seth there, hiding. She's our local AgXplore representative. So we got a couple people from AgXplore here today looking things over. I'm going to use your college-educated. I want you to stage this corn, Ben, because
Sure.
everybody stages it a little bit different, whether they count the very bottom
Some tillers going on down there
or
too.
not. Oh, there's a lot of tillers usually, yeah.
You go V8, I believe.
That's what I would call it, probably V8, yeah. You know, you want to make sure you have that full collar, but sometimes that smallest leaf has already somewhat disappeared
Yep.
by now. But how did they teach you? Did they teach you to count the first one? Or?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Looking for, they're going to start falling off here. They're burning off the first couple, and that's normal. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one hasn't fully set on a collar yet. We're looking for a collar like on a shirt.
Right.
So we're not quite there yet. So.
Right. This corn does have some burnt leaves, which that's my fault. I did that with calcium nitrate on too hot a day. So I won't do that again, but it's grown past that now. It did kind of yellow it up didn't look real good for a couple days, but anyway. So what we did today, the application today, was the calcium products. What's the proper name of it?
Okay. Full cal.
Full cal. It's a 6% calcium. We put a quarter of that to the acre out. I'm a big believer in calcium. If you look at the tissue samples of like the highest yield guys, they will be high in calcium. And sometimes it's hard to do with liquid products, but the guys with the highest yields are usually in calcitic soils. They've got base saturations of calcium, you know, some in the 80s, right? You know, I mean, Francis Childs, you remember the old, are you too young?
Yeah, I might be too young.
To remember Francis Childs? Well, he's too young for that, but that's back, he held the dryland corn record forever. I think Russell broke it, you know, part of Top Crop this last year. And he's in a very calcitic area. I haven't asked Russell just exactly where his are, but high calcium soils will grow really good crops in corn. But you can help with calcium products. You know, we use gypsum, some of these other things, and try to add some different calcium things. So that's the reason we're looking at calcium a lot of different times. We also use potassium acetate. Your version is it Nutrac?
Nutrac.
Nutrac.
Nutrac, yep.
Nutrac. Okay, which is a potassium, it's a straight potassium acetate, isn't it?
That's right, yep.
Maybe with it's got any fulvic or anything in it, or just straight potassium acetate?
It does have some technology in it, yep.
Yeah, okay. So it's just a little different than your normal potassium acetates, but I've used a lot of potassium acetates over the year to help get potassium into the plant a little bit later season. You can have very high potassium levels in the soil, and some of ours are pretty good, but it gets locked up in the soil, and it's hard to get it into the plant, you know. So sometimes you got to add some of these different, either foliar or, you know, maybe something you're wide dropping in with some potassium to try to get it immediately available if you're really trying to achieve high yields. So, Suzanne, what did we do the foliar pass before this?
You did
Architect
and KSB, XR5 KSB.
Okay, so that would have been, I believe, about V5, V6. We put Architect on this. And the KSB it's a multi, it's got a bunch of micros, am I right? What else?
It's got 3. It's got potassium sulfur boron. That's where the KSB comes from.
KSB. That's
Yep.
our local hospital.
Yep.
KSB.
I saw that.
Yeah, Catherine Shaw Betzer. Okay.
We're going to try to stay out of there today.
Yeah, right. Okay. Wasn't there a few other things in there too? Or is that's the 3 components?
That's the 3 components
That's
of it.
the
Yep.
3 components.
Yep.
Okay. So we did that. Before that, at planning, we had 2 products at planning, didn't we? Was it Octane? It was Adrenaline and Upward. I'm going to let you explain those 2 products, what they were.
Yeah, so Upward and Adrenaline are 2 starter fertilizer products. It's not a commodity fertilizer, but they're technologies that go with your starter fertilizer. Upward, what that's really meant to do is go in a 2x2 situation. Works really well in furrow as well. But if you're using something like a 1034-0 in a 2x2 situation, it makes sure that fertilizer stays right where you put it and is available to the plant a little later on. Adrenaline is just an absolutely technology-packed monster. You'll see just extreme root hair growth, making cast that bigger net of those roots so that the plant can take up those nutrients later on in the season.
Yeah, roots are always key, especially in high yield, and that's one thing we always strive for is really good roots, and that can come through added products or good soil biology helps with that too. No compaction and all that. We use some manures, so lots of times we have pretty decent roots, but if you can enhance that, there's sure nothing wrong with that. So anyway,
This got Architect, you said?
yes. And I don't know, what do you normally see from Architect?
Architect, what we're looking at is if you would take do you have any untreated stuff around here? It's all treated.
Well, yes, we do.
So if you would take
we just have to walk over to it.
That's all right. So if you were to take the same physiological leaf from the ground up, so if we go 5th leaf up on treated, we have to go 5th leaf up on the untreated.
Yeah.
And what you would see if you would lay the untreated over the treated, this is what you would see. You would see a bigger leaf with the Architect. Yep.
Okay.
Bigger, fatter, wider leaf. Then we paired it with sulfur, KSB, right? Right. So then we're packing the food within that plant, within that leaf. So then later on in the season, when we need it to fill that kernel, we have it there. We call that source to sink movement. So.
And wider leaves is obviously more photosynthesis, more everything going on.
Also within that Architect is a micronutrient package to support photosynthesis as well. So.
Yeah, I think I noticed there was some of that in there.
Yep.
Also.
Nothing there that's going to fix a deficiency, just the right amount to support photosynthesis.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's move back into the kind of just off the end rows here, unless there's something you want to look at in here. I don't want to dig any right here because I consider this contest corn.
Sure.
And I hate to dig them out in here. But on the end rows right here, we can dig some.
You bet.
If you want to do that. So. A little hard yet, isn't it?
I'd say so, Dan. Oh my.
Well, this is end row, so they're going to be a little worse, I guess, as far as that goes. Turning around on them.
Eventually we're going to get it. Can't get down more than about 5 inches.
Yeah, otherwise we're going to break them all off. So we had just enough rain to get a little bit of that. That's kind of a good, showing how rain will funnel right to the roots, even though all we had was a good sprinkle.
Down the leaves.
Yeah, shows it does help. Starting to get it. Breaking plenty, but that's the way it always goes.
Not awful. Pretty hard.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to dig again off some end rows. That might have not been the best spot. We broke some of that center stuff
Yeah, we
out.
sure did.
But what he's talking about are these, all these different kind of root hairs in here, and these little, I don't have my glasses on, but the little white ones is what we're looking for, and I don't see as many as I want to see right there.
A lot of people, when they dig up roots, they get excited about these going down way far. That's not really what we're looking for. What we're looking for is just one of these lot fine root hairs here.
Right.
Plants drink nutrients. The more little root hairs we can put on there to drink, the better.
Right. When we get over in some softer stuff over there, we'll probably do it again. But yeah, I totally agree with the smaller stuff. You know, this kind of stuff here is what you're really looking for. A lot of that. And then I usually like to see, here's some of the white ones, you know. I like to see it this time of year, if you dig in the center of the row, to see them, that they're out there, and they usually are. So
a lot of times what we'll see with our adrenaline product is these brace roots will actually start putting on fine root hairs as well, which is
off of here. Huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, well, let's go to a different spot here.
Can we replant that one for you?
I don't think it's gonna work. It's just too hard. What I think we should do, though, is compare, as long as you're here, you know, which we have down here, with and without the foliar passes.
Sure.
So why don't you let me lead, Suzanne, if I know where I'm going. You're just gonna have to work with the tillers and figure your way. I'm gonna guess it was
2, 4, 5.
probably this leaf.
Yeah.
So you would guess?
Yep. Not seeing much of a difference there, if anything. They look about the same so far.
Well, I put it on top. So yeah, it's pretty close.
Pretty close, yep.
Yeah. Which this field has a lot of nutrients.
Yep.
You know, along with it. That's why you got all these tillers going on.
Yeah, that's incredible. My goodness.
It's, you might have to come around again. Like we always do, we break a lot of them off.
Yep. A lot of fine hairs there.
This is what he's kind of talking about, you
Yep.
know, with all these, you know, all these little fine
That's what you like to see.
hairs like this, you know. And in this hard ground, we break them all off, but usually they're going, you know, to the center of the row. And by the time we get, oh, I don't know, I mean, not much past the stage we are now, I notice them starting to, especially if you get a little moisture, start coming right out of the top of the ground.
Yep.
Those little white ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as far as I'm concerned, you know, they always say that, you know, all these nutrients on top, if they are on top, you know, phosphorus and other things, how it doesn't move. Well, okay, maybe it doesn't, but if you're coming up and getting them, you're going to get them,
Exactly.
right? So if you got that kind of, you know, that kind of fine hairs in there, I don't know. I always want to call them mycorrhiza roots, but I don't know if that's really the right term.
I don't know what the right term is now.
But they, you know, you got a lot delivering. See right up in here, all those little itty bitty fine ones coming, will be coming right out to the top, especially when we're, you know, we wide dropped some stuff in here not too long ago, and even though we haven't had rain, I think it'll start taking some of that in.
For sure.
You know, we need a little bit of rain, that's for sure. So, and this is, I don't know, that size of plant, you know, see the size of the girth of just the main stalk. That's pretty good girth for that size of a plant. And then we got a tiller on each side, which you could say that's good or bad. Maybe we should be at a higher population, but every time I go too high, I get competitiveness later in the season. It gets too crowded in here, and it just doesn't really seem to work for me. So, but what it is showing is that we've got a lot of nutrients, and the plant's pretty happy.
The plant's very happy, yep.
You know, so. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to regrow either, but we'll do it like this. Okay. Alrighty, let's get on out of here. Ben, what's Iowa look like over, you know, what you've seen? Are they
all over the board?
That's what I was going to ask.
We had some corn that we planted April 23rd, 24th, 25th into just absolutely beautiful conditions. And then it rained for 3 weeks and looked like absolute hell after that.
Even the stuff that was planted then?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's finally found its legs. I don't know if that even makes sense to you guys.
Oh,
but
it does. I know what you mean.
It's finally, I don't know if it's finding nitrogen or sulfur or just what, but things are actually starting to even out. Before you could see every line, any kind of tillage pass that you made through.
Every tire track.
Every tire track, yep.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Suzanne? That stuff would be V5, V6. Yep.
So, you know, this was planted in that 24th, 25th range.
Wow, it's night and day from what we got. This is good stuff.
So then there's some extreme wet areas, right? Weren't they still planting not very long ago, or where, maybe northern Iowa or somewhere?
Say that again.
Isn't there some areas in Iowa that they were just planting last week even?
Oh yeah, we were just, we finished up beans last week.
Yeah.
As far as corn, I don't know if anybody's planting corn last week. Maybe a couple, 2-3 weeks ago, but
Right.
it's
So is
all over
there,
the board.
I mean, was it northern Iowa was the wettest, or what?
So I know up in northwest Iowa, they just absolutely got hammered the whole season. It seems like they can never catch a break. So I maybe call that the wettest. Here in central, where we're at, right around the Ames area, we'll catch a break. It's just not enough of a break. You know what I mean?
But your crops, they're definitely behind.
Oh yeah, way behind.
Sounds.
Yep.
How about the stuff that was planted after that 3-week rain window, you know?
It's real small, stunted. It's too wet. You know, we're in a hypoxic situation where there's just too much moisture in the soil. The old boy said you had to go around field cultivator or run the cultivator through it and get some oxygen in the soil. But
Well, it's actually not bad advice, but not many people will do it.
no, I don't think we're going to do it.
Olden days, few people used to drag an anhydrous bar through just with a knife.
Yep.
You know, I actually got it's Wilmar. We did a video on it. If you look back at some of the top crop stuff, but it's got big spikes that are on a drum.
Okay.
That's set up like a cultivator.
Sure.
But they're 10-inch spikes, so it's
Oh, wow.
churning.
Yep.
And we did some compacted areas with that, just to.
Did you see good results with that?
Yeah, it's like an end row, like where we walked in, where it's just packed of shit.
Yep.
Not so much there because you're not getting underneath the row, but in areas where it was just kind of wavering a little bit, it seemed like it did make a difference.
Yep.
In there. So it aerated it, like you were saying.
Exactly.
And broke some of that compaction up. So.
The corn, I'm trying to think when we last planted the corn. This Saturday, I don't remember the date, middle of May sometime, and it's just ugly corn, yellow,
Just ugly.
just ugly corn.
Yeah.
The beans, I don't know. Finished up planting those 10 days ago or so. And
They're just out then.
yeah, we're just out in some fields. This is about the earliest growing field we got here. We have a product called Grow Pack. It's a hopper box replacement.
Right.
Untreated here, treated here, but still it's just
barely getting
coming up.
going.
Yeah, we're not even to V1 yet.
Right. It did any early, around here guys are running a lot of early beans.
Yeah, there are some guys that went in early, but they're even at that, before April 23rd, 24th, 25th, not a whole lot happened in central Iowa.
Yeah.
So those beans are maybe V2, V3 at most. So
Oh,
everything's
no
just
kidding.
falling behind. It's just late.
Just saturated. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, the early stuff around beans here looked pretty good until the other day when I burnt the piss out of them.
That's right.
They looked really good. They're almost rose closed, yeah. But
Are you using a burner, like Cobra or something? Or
no, it's just
heating it up with some adjuvants?
heating it up with an adjuvant and some oil, and maybe I made it a little hotter than it needed to be. Probably was right for normal conditions, but it was 90 every day.
Yeah.
And that makes a heck of a difference.
Yeah, it already heats it up.
And it seems like I couldn't have hardly done any less because the weeds are just like barely. I think I got them, but like barely,
Yep.
So anyway,
So Dan, this is
but we did a Y drop in here just 4 or 5 days ago that had some nitrogen, some phosphorus, some potassium. And that could have made that jump a little bit more, but some of it's just end rows too.
I mean, I thought, but I just didn't
Yeah.
know if there was quite a market.
Yeah. You get in here just, even this, this third row isn't that much less than.
Yep.
And if you ever notice, generally, I mean, you can see it here, especially in corn, that is fast growing. Just look at 3-2-1. Your outside row will generally be shorter.
Absolutely.
Good looking corn, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. This is the tallest we have, but all our corn looks pretty good except for a few compaction things here or there. We were 1 day windows on planting all
Yeah.
season.
Yep.
You know, we'd run out and try to get
Absolutely.
a day, and if we were working it, it was
Yeah, marginal.
marginal.
Yep.
But you know, another rain, you know how it is, farm deal, you're trying to get it done.
That's
you
right.
know? So there's only one real field that I really you can definitely see some compaction from our tractor. But you know, I actually went then, and that was the first field we planted. I just didn't like the conditions. And we have a high-speed disc, and then we got a soil finisher for that tractor, but we had the high-speed disc on it because we were using it like to take down some mature rye, you know, and then we plant into it, things like that. So anyway, I was like, boy, I just don't like it, and that tractor's too heavy. So I went and bought, see that blue thing right there?
Yeah,
I went and bought an
DMI.
old DMI field cultivator.
That's new where I'm come from, Dan.
Yeah, but I mean, that's an old Tiger mate, you
bet.
know, 38 foot.
Yep.
And we put it behind a front wheel assist tractor that's dualed up that's way lighter. And where I did that, zero compaction. It's just that tractor, you know, it's 600 horse, tracks are that wide. It just, if you don't have that extra day or two,
Yep.
it shows up, you know.